when there's an injustice against you or someone you love or someone you believe in, stand up. Don't sit down on them if they need you.
Welcome to Popcorn Planet's Pop Culture Justice, and how are not more people talking about this? This story's old, but it only just came to my attention today. Yes, a few people sent this to me, and I didn't catch it the first time around when people were complaining post-slap about Jada Pinkett Smith. Now, again, this person, Chris Kelly, who is part of Kris Kross, Jump, you remember Jump, Jump, Everybody Jump, Jump, that song, Kris Kross, came out in like 1992. They wore the jerseys backwards. As a kid, I loved that song, and it was cool too. Younger rappers jumping and dancing and doing it. They were super popular. Well, apparently one half of that duo, Chris Kelly, had an entanglement with Jada Pinkett Smith. She was 22 at the time. He was 15. We got the interview from the rapper producer who alleges this. Chris Kelly is no longer with us. I doubt Jada's going to come forward and admit it. So I don't know what's going to happen. But if this is true, this is disgusting. Imagine Will Smith hooking up with the 15-year-old member of TLC or whatever group you can think of, girl group. It would be end of times, but Jada Pinkett Smith does it, and it's all gets a pass. Well, I'm excited because look who's here to break this down with me. It's Vito. Oh wait, you're not there. I did that big reveal, and you're not there. Hold on, I got you. It's my end.
Okay.
Hold on, guys. Vito's here. It's worth it. It's worth it. And I told you because it's Vito. What's up, Vito?
Hey, how's it going?
Oh man, I can't wait to get your thoughts on this one.
I have mixed feelings about this.
Always a pleasure to have Vito Giswaldi over on the Vito Show over on YouTube, and the biggest problem ever. Always a pleasure to have you, sir. How you been?
I like that you've got the name of all my channels wrong. From biggest problem ever.
What is it called? The greatest problem? Biggest.
It's the biggest problem in the universe. Is the name of the show.
What did I say?
You said the biggest problem ever.
Oh, well, I got the first three words right. Jesus, don't make a show with 8 words long and I won't get it wrong. The biggest problem in the universe with you and Dick Masterson. It's a really fun show, guys.
Thank you.
You know I love it. But how are you doing, Vito?
Doing okay, hanging out. Just saw the news about Jada being.
You're like, I have to hop on and talk about this with Andy.
I have to hop on. Don't make me sound like I was eager.
We got a few topics regarding this Will Smith Jada stuff. A lot of people still sending me stuff to talk about as this story still winds down. But I want your thoughts on this because let's get to it. Ready? Daz Dillinger. I'm unfamiliar with Daz, but I guess he's a producer, rapper. I don't know. Anyway, rapper. He's a rapper. So I thought. And he did an interview. Now this is about a year or so old. This story didn't get a lot of attention. But he did an interview where he says, Jada Pinkett Smith was having an entanglement, hooking up with, he's strongly alluding, with Chris Kelly of Kris Kross back in 1993. But then people did the math. Well, that means Jada was 22 and Chris would have been 15. So here's, I don't know if this picture is her 13. The best thing I can attest of, if you want to see Jada at around that age, would be Menace to Society, which came out in 1993. So she would have been 21-ish here, 20-ish. So it's still, because they would have taped this before it came out in 93. But here you got her. And then you got Kris Kross, present day latest shot before he passed. Right. But here he is in the era back then. Here he is right here on the left side. Babyface Chris Smith getting Jada's all hot by him in his backwards jersey. That's not him at 15,
though, is it?
This is 1 year. This would be him at 12. All right, sorry, sorry.
Or 14, this would be 1 year
14,
prior.
sorry.
14.
This would have been like 13, 14, so 1 or 2 years post this.
That does look like a child, jeez.
He looks pretty childish. I mean, it's not that should matter. The age is the age, you know what I mean? You gotta ask, and she didn't ask. So here, let's watch the clip, and then I want to get Vito and my thoughts. Here is DPG's Daz Dillinger talking about the entanglement that Jada was in back.
You were good friends with Chris Kelly and Kris Kross and Smith?
Yeah, Kris Kross. Yeah, that was our little homies. That was our homies right there. You know what I'm saying? We kicked it with them all the motherfucking time. Wow. That was the first dude I seen. You think Jada Pinkett was entangling? She was entangling with Chris Kelly from motherfucking Kris Kross, because Kris Kross was in the room and he was like, Jada Pinkett is at the door, but don't leave. take this weed. Chill. We like, damn, this motherfucker gave us an ounce of weed. We're going to kick it right here. Then he came back in. He said, yeah, that was Jada Pinkett. I'm like, damn, this nigga Jada Pinkett at a young age.
Wow, Chris Kelly was then.
1993, around that way.
Wow.
You know, yes, she was entangling men. Shout out to Jada.
Jesus. And then cut to feet. What am I watching? A condom on a foot? Jesus.
You don't use foot condoms? Andy,
oh, God,
you
Facebook. You gotta love Facebook video. All right, but yeah, I mean, look, let's take it with a grain of salt. This guy, I don't know, Daz Dillinger, but he's making the accusation and he put the date down. If this is incorrect, he should come and correct it.
Well, if I understand it, he's saying they were smoking the reefer and they ended up making out, it sounds like. Is that what the story was?
Listen to it again, because
Jada Pinkett is at the door, but don't leave. Take this weed. Chill. We like, damn, this motherfucker gave us an ounce of weed. We're going to kick it right here. Then he came back in. He said, yeah, that was Jada Pinkett. I'm like, damn, this nigga Jada Pinkett.
This N-words effing Jada Pinkett Smith at a young age.
Effing her. Okay.
That's what I heard. That's what I heard right there, as if it couldn't be more clear.
Yeah, Daz is clearly a very well-spoken individual.
That's why I'm saying take this with a grain of salt. I mean, but still, Vito, back me up at least. Can we agree on this? If Will Smith was caught being with the 15-year-old member of, I don't know, think of a girl group back then. I keep saying TLC.
Yeah, sure.
If he was with T-Boz at 15, don't you think there'd be a lot more outrage?
I think so, but I think there is also the societal double standard where when it's a young man wanting to get lucky with an older female, I think people look the other way. It's also complicated, you know, I don't want to get too into it, but I know in the rap culture and the whatever else that they're very obsessed with sex and that sort of thing.
So
maybe
that's only in the rap culture, Vito?
Well,
I think that's
I'm
most
saying,
cultures.
I think in some of their circles, it might be considered, you know, maybe this is above board for them, but clearly, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it should never be above board anywhere, and it's not okay. And what this establishes, if true, again, if true, this would be a pattern. Because it shows, like, even at that age, 22, she was really into young dudes, which she then later did with August Alsina, who was much younger than her at the time. And there's another troubling part, Vito, because I want to get your thoughts on all this, entanglements and stuff. But it's like, look, I'm not here to usually judge people who they hook up with. And if she wants to hook up with August and Will's cool with it, or Will's in the corner, if it's all consensual and they're all legal, I don't care, right? I don't care. Sure. This I care about because the kid's 15. That's not normal, right? But what's crazy to me is this whole just sort of thing she talks about when she's interviewed when Will Smith's interviewed by her, who cheated on him, allegedly. She's just trying to justify it by like, look, I just, sometimes I was so broken and hurt, and I have this thing where I need to help people who are troubled. And I could tell that he was really traumatized and troubled, so I picked him up and I helped him. These are red flags to me, this woman. And she's acknowledging, she's like, this is something I've been working on in life. But to me, I don't know. Now this comes out of the woodwork. This seems like a woman who's got a problem with being a predator towards young men who are troubled and need guidance. And well, I'll be here, sweetie. Now I don't know where that comes from or what her own work she's putting into, but for another example to come out allegedly from this guy Daz Dillinger, would you not think this is a little bit troubling for Jada?
It seems like Jada is the kind of woman who gains much of her self-worth from the idea that she is still attractive, that she is still sexy, that men want to sleep with her, and even young men want to sleep with her. And rather than going, I think the sane thing to do, if that is how you get your worth, is to have, your followers online who go, you're so attractive, I'd do anything. You go, oh, thank you so much, but, I'm dedicated to my husband. She takes it one step further and goes out and starts doing things with them just to, I don't know, feel young, feel sexy, feel desired. She's not satisfied with just what her husband gives her. She wants the whole world to love her. Yeah. And that is, I see certain people suffer from that kind of narcissism and don't want to deal with getting older and aging and realizing you shouldn't be chasing every young buck in the stallion yard or whatever else. And
but look, if she wants to
work on.
if she wants to go after the young, 20-year-olds and she's single or Will's cool with it, again, right? I guess none of our damn business. But 15-year-old Kris Kross, if this is true, this is a problem. I mean, he's no longer with us to sort of confirm this, but this kid was a kid. This is a clear kid.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. I mean, at 22, she should have known better. I don't know her entire, history. I don't know how, exactly how she got where she is. Did she come from like a weird upbringing or anything? Or,
I mean, she's working on a book, Vito, so I'm sure we'll hear more about it.
I mean,
she's revealed everything else about Tupac and Will. I mean, she must have revealed more about her own self if she's not saving it for this.
It's just sometimes, people are brought up in bad situations and they learn the wrong rules and they think certain behaviors are okay. So I don't know what exactly would have led her to believe like, oh, this is okay, for me to be with this kid and we're close enough and whatever. And really, just a kid that young has really no idea what's going on, like,
yeah, I mean, as a 15-year-old, like, would I have cared? Probably not. At that age, you're like thinking sex, but you're not really thinking clearly when you're at that age. That's the problem, right? And,
right.
Getting introduced to sex at that age can actually really harm you in your mind, and it can cause you go down the wrong roads.
Not to mention, you're teaching a young kid that, sex is this throwaway thing. It's just a fun party thing. It's meaningless. And then you leave and you never see him again. So you're not, that's part of the problem is it's not like, you're going to have a fulfilling relationship. You're teaching them all the wrong things about sex.
No, 100%. And I saw comments that are like, oh, but come on, Jada was so fine back then. Like, what kid wouldn't want it? And they're just not, that's not a right way to think. Because at that age, the whole point is to be protected by adults.
You give a kid everything he wants. A kid also wants to eat ice cream for dinner every night. But the point is that you as the adult need to go, listen, I know you think you want this,
the children,
but really you don't want this. This is not healthy for you.
Right. And but even I would argue, even at 15, you shouldn't be even with 15-year-olds at that point. I mean, but it'd be better. But still, like, the whole point is like, you got to protect these kids and not ingrain this in their head at young. And for the fact that, look, 22, 15, it's like, oh, but Andy, it's not, there's no justification to me. And I saw it in some of these comments on people who were doing it. It's just not. There's one rule, very clear, easy rule. Each state, I guess, has its own, number of what you can't do. Just don't cross it. It's really not that hard, Vito. Like,
it's a good rule of thumb. I'll give you that. It's definitely
like a very easy law to follow. And I feel like, okay, like you could argue about when kids are ready or whatever, or adults are ready. Hell, some adults aren't ready, Vito, even at 18. But my point is, all right, at least follow the damn law. And she didn't even do like a 17, like, oh, well, New York, like James Franco tried to argue. This kid was 15. This was way below the age. And this isn't okay. So I got to say to Jada, shame on you, man. If this is true and you're hiding this, and then it makes me wonder, well, if there was this kid, there was August, how many more do you think there are, Vito? Is it unrealistic for me to assume that there's a pattern of other young kids and are on the floor?
If she meets Kris Kross on the same day, they're smoking weed and shacking up, that points to a pattern of behavior. That tells me that she's quite possibly done the same thing. Hopefully, with people her own age, I don't know, but if she's willing to, shack up with Kris Kross.
My God, we got to check on like Macaulay Culkin. What other big kid stars of that era should we cross?
Who was interacting with Jada? Yeah, exactly.
Jesus. Well, there you go, guys. That's the main story here. I mean, I'd love to hear a follow up on this. This sort of came and went. It was on some it was like on some hip hop sites, but it never really got much traction. I wonder if someone tried to stop this from getting out more. It was just an allegation, but you'd think someone would have followed up further with Daz about this to be like, was that real? Are you really saying this is true? I think the problem is
not having anyone to corroborate or cooperate.
Yeah, at this point,
whatever
it's her
that
word
word
versus
is.
his. He wasn't there.
Yeah.
I wonder if anybody else was in that room to corroborate that.
Corroborate. There it is.
Story. Because again, this is, look, Will Smith, I love you. I don't mean to keep hammering this story. The folks are curious. They're still watching. We have a lot of questions still. Will, I like you, Will. I really think you messed up. I get it. You got a lot on your shoulders. This relationship doesn't seem healthy, man. Do you, Vito, from everything you're seeing on this and the clips of Jada, not to knock down, but like, Does this seem like a healthy relationship? And I know it's like none of our business, but they keep shoving our face into all this drama on that damn Facebook show. So it's not even like we can say, well, we don't know, we should not talk about it. They're putting it in our face. You know what I mean? As Kris said, they're like smacking us in the face with it. Do you think that there's a chance here that, he's in a not a very healthy relationship and should reconsider?
I think these people need to just go private. Stop. You are not stable individuals. You want to be like the first family of, Hollywood or whatever else, but you're not great people. You're damaged people. You have problems. That's fine. And we all do. The difference is that we don't, get on talk shows and go, oh, look at me, look at my magical life. Don't you wish you were like the Smith family? And then when we see the cracks shown, when we see the madness beyond it, it's horrifying. Why are you showing this to us? I think you guys just stop being in the public spotlight. Look, you all have careers. You all have stuff that, projects you're working on. Why do you need us to know everything about your love life and your intimacy and everything else? This is too much information. And for the sanity of everyone, just stop. Just knock it off.
Guys, there's so much more to talk about in this episode, including a fan who's getting trolled all over TikTok because they laughed too much during the Chris Rock special. And while we were live, we uncovered this about Jada. Oh, it gets real weird. We watched her whole Facebook episode with her daughter and her mother and her daughter's friend as they talked about stuff. I'm sorry, it's TMI. You're not going to miss any of that, guys. If you want to see the full show in its entirety, become a member today. You'll be able to catch today's replay. Go watch today's replay bonus show. I'll title it specifically Gross Jada Pinkett Smith Interview. Click on that one. Watch it later. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hit that subscribe, hit that bell. Join Lewis over at Nerd Report next, and stay tuned for more here on Popcorn Planet.